at 6:30 on January 13th, 2022. And then, Nancy, can we do roll call?
Yes, Judy Borey,
Here.
Cheryl Hall,
Here.
Pam Kraus,
Here.
Yvonne Cruiser,
Here.
Vivian Reisky,
Here.
Vera Walters,
Here.
Lori Wine.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to accept the agenda?
I move to accept the agenda from, what was the date, December
December 9th.
9th,
Sorry.
2021?
I'll second that.
Thank you. And then call to the public.
Oh, acceptance of the minutes.
Oh, acceptance of the minutes. Do I hear acceptance of the minutes? And then that's the one for today, January 13th, 2022? Or the December one?
December 9th.
Okay,
You should have,
December 9th, 2021.
I move that we accept the minutes for December 9th, 2021.
Do I hear a second?
I will second that.
Do we need to vote?
do a roll call.
Roll call?
Judy Borey,
Yes.
Cheryl Hall,
Yes.
Pam Kraus,
Yes.
Yvonne Cruiser,
Yes.
Vivian Reisky,
Yes.
Vera Walters,
Yes.
Lori Wine.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, and then call to the public?
Yes.
Can we make a comment at this time?
Oh, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Can we make a comment at this time, even though we're a board member?
What did you want to say?
I just wanted to say that I thought the program, Coffee with the Cop, was wonderful.
Well, thank you. We're going to talk about programs a little more in my librarian's report, so if you want to chime in, then that's probably a good place.
All right, call to the public?
No public.
And nobody's public, so we'll move on. All right, all correspondence, communication?
Yes, correspondence and communications. We do have a visitor with us tonight from the Apache Junction Library staff. We have a fairly new staff member. She began in October, thank you. Her name is Megan Carbiner, and I'm going to have her give an introduction and tell you about what she does for us at the library.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. My main job at the library is to be the outreach librarian, and that is outside of the library, going out into the community, but also in the library by doing programs and making connections with the community. So I've been having a lot of fun doing that. So far, what I've been doing is making as many connections as I can. I've gone on outreach visits to schools, businesses, RV parks, as well as fairs throughout the city. And last month I talked to about 250 people and created about 25 new library cards. But last week at the Centennial, I did even more than that amount just in one event. So it was an awesome event. And then, like I said, I also help with youth programs and adult programs, and I help with social media and marketing. And in the future, I want to continue doing those things. I want to reach as many people as I can and create new programs and just help with anything that needs to be done. And I'm really happy to be here. I love my job, and I love this community. As a public librarian, it's important for you to love your public, and I truly do. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
So Megan did the Coffee with a Cop program. So if you want to tell everybody what that was about, Vera or Megan.
Well, let Megan do it. It was her show.
Okay, Megan, tell everybody what coffee, obviously Vera was there.
Yeah, it was just kind of a program that was low stress. It was just like a conversation, and we had 3 officers come from the police department, and people just come and have a conversation with them. There wasn't really any guidelines. People asked about like their neighbor's barking dog, and then they also asked about like the biggest problems probing AJ right now. So there was a lot going on. We even had someone who was a retired police officer who came. So it was a really cool program. Just it's kind of meant to like have police officers there in an unintimidating way, because there is a lot of talk about, since libraries are so focused on equality, about people maybe not feeling safe or feeling intimidated when they see an officer. So we don't want them to feel that way. So we created this program to just get them having conversation, being a part of the community, and it was partly for the winter visitors who aren't here half the year, so they could learn maybe what's changed. So Tracy was the one that initiated it, and I helped carry it through. So
Nice job.
How often do you think you'll do that?
I'm planning to do it again in February. She kind of just wants me to do it in January and February, once a month, to kind of catch the winter visitors. A lot of people have asked me about it, so if they want me to do it more, I can, but right now it's just planned for January and February, so.
So we do have our new police chief beginning here in the next couple of weeks. Have the officers mentioned if he might be able to attend a coffee with a cop?
They have not, but I should ask, because that would be really great for people to say like, oh, meet our new chief. So I'll have to send him a message and
Yeah.
ask.
I think that would be really well attended because everyone's
Yeah.
going to want to get to know him and what his priorities and goals are.
I'll ask.
Well, and it's a good way to welcome him to the community too, and,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do you have a breakdown of the people who attended winter visitors versus permanent residents?
Just that program?
Yeah, well, are you capturing that kind of information from the people who come?
No, I'm just counting the people that are there. I mean, I talked to them, and so I know there were 4 of them that were specifically winter visitors, and they all came from a specific RV resort. But I think the other ones weren't. I think there were maybe 16 or something that came total, and I know that those 4 were winter visitors, but most of the other people were families or other people, adults in Apache Junction. So.
Is that one more geared to just adults? Because I know they do cops and kids, which is that, so this is more just looking for adults to kind of communicate?
Yeah, it is more geared towards adults, but I mean, there was a little girl that came in with her mom and asked the officers some questions. Anybody's welcome, but it is more geared towards adults because we do have that program too. So.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and close the correspondence and communication then, unless there's any more questions.
No. Library report then?
All right, the librarian's report. Thank you, President Kraus. We like the sound of that. So I'm really excited to tell you tonight about some new developments in the library. We had yesterday our first meeting with our strategic planning consultant, Tony Garvey. It was a great meeting. All the supervisors were present, and then we gave Ms. Garvey a tour of the library. She's already given us some great advice on things that we should consider for our strategic plan. We're going to be gathering data and analyzing it. We're going to have direct community and staff input through the use of surveys and focus groups. And then once we go through those surveys and see the outcomes and the results, we'll have areas to focus on for our 3 to 5 year plan. We can then prioritize our service goals and what strategies we're going to use to reach those goals. So this is going to take several months, obviously, to get through. Our next step is going to be to create a strategic planning committee. And my goal is to include not only library staff, perhaps a board member or 2, perhaps a Friends of the Library volunteer or member, but also some key community members that are active in the community and have a passion for improving our library. So I spoke with Bryant Powell yesterday. He's given me some names of people that he thinks might be a good fit for our committee, so I'll be reaching out to those next week. And we will hope to start the planning committee in February with Ms. Garvey. So there'll be a lot to report on in the future board meetings for that. At the last meeting, we had several requests for programming ideas. Those included a possible kitten room or an adoption room for pets. Was it brick painting, Pam? Brick painting
Brick
to
or rock?
brick or rock painting to make the brick look like a book. A Buddy the Macaw dedication area with pictures and from people that would come to the Pause to Read program in the past before Buddy died this past year. And then board member Reisky also was talking about combining efforts with our Paws and Claws department to have possible adoptions in the park next to the library, which I indicated we had done years ago, and it had been a successful event. So all of these ideas I've passed on to our programming staff for their consideration and for their for next steps to go forward, hopefully some of those. The kitten room is one that I don't know for sure still if we can do that, but so we might put that on the back burner for a while. But the other ones are definitely been communicated to our youth programming staff, and they all sound like great ideas. So I thank you for the thoughts. We have started some new programs this month. If you're familiar with the Arizona Humanities Council, we always have speakers from the council come to the library in the months of January and February to do lectures about Arizona. The first one was this week. It looked like we had about 45 people in physical attendance and then 15 people virtually attend the program, which is less than we normally do, but I think it was a little bit of a relief on the side of the programming staff because of the COVID increases in the last few weeks. Everybody wore masks, and from what I understood, it was a great program. You were there, weren't you, Vera?
It was excellent.
I forgot what the topic was on that one.
The Arizona Highways history.
Arizona Highways History, yeah. So we will have those programs every Tuesday for the next 6 to 7 weeks. Every lecture has a different topic, but it's all Arizona related. And they start at 2:30 at the library.
Unfortunately, the next one is going to be virtual only.
That is right. Thank you for reminding me. Yes,
Yeah,
Greg
that's too bad.
McNamee.
Yeah.
Yes, will be virtual only, so you can go to our website and you can request a link to see that virtually. In the kids department, we have started a beginning guitar program for kids. The kids do need to be the age of 10 or older due to the strength they'll need in their fingers and arms or whatever. I don't play guitar, but fingers to do the different notes, keys on the guitar. Chords, thank you, yes. Yes, thank you. You could tell I played the oboe. I did not do guitar.
Can I make a comment about that? I noticed in the library, there's a notice for used guitar donations. I would put that on Craigslist.
Oh,
Get it out there a little more, because I'll bet there's people with guitars sitting around.
yeah, okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, and it's for that program. So
Right.
we have received a few donations. The Friends of the Library were generous and are helping us with purchase of a couple more, as well as the cases or the bags to put them in. And I believe this week, there were 4 kids that attended, and it's being taught by a community volunteer who plays guitar.
Great.
So,
That's awesome.
so yeah, that's a really neat program that has started this month. That's just a couple of the new things. Our youth supervisor, Penny, is gung-ho on programs. So she is trying a bunch of new things to see kind of what sticks, and she even has more ideas, and I told her, slow down, we can't do it all at once. So every month, take a look at the calendar that Sancy sends out with the agenda, and you can see all of the new stuff we're doing. Let's see. Quarterly summary report. Let me bring that up on the screen. So last meeting, we showed you July through September, and that's too small. And this month, we're showing October through December of last year. So patron visits have slowly increased throughout the last 3 months, and so has circulation for the most part, and that's total material circulation. So that includes physical items in the library as well as electronic content. Our volunteer hours have remained very steady. And normally December is a slower month for programs and attendance, but as you can see here, our children's attendance was very big, and I attribute that mostly to 2 programs in particular. How do I get rid of that thing? There we go. One being the Story Walk opening on December 10th, and the other one being the holiday program that we had the next day, which was kind of 4 programs thrown into one big day of events. So we're really happy that those were successful. Teen programs have had a slight drop in attendance, which is kind of normal for this time of the year. Adult and outreach programs. What was your outreach program for December? Was that the fair?
We
The
did
vendor fair?
a few things. Yeah, we went to the Boys and Girls Club and gave out books. And then, yeah, we went to a fair, and I think we did more than that too. But
Okay.
those are the 2 main ones I can think of.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me about the Boys and Girls Club. Stephanie Green in the youth department, she got a mini grant from the state library for, I think it was 500 books. They had to be given away to strategic organizations and include early childhood and/or literacy skill development information with them. So she really wanted to focus on some of the early elementary school kids that go to the Boys and Girls Club, and I think she still has a lot left to distribute,
Yeah.
but she'll find other ways to do that. But that was a really nice thing to do, and it was right before the holidays. Any questions about the quarterly summary report? Okay. Last meeting, we were asked to provide some graphs to give some better idea of, I'm really bad at this. Santi, how do I make this bigger?
Oh, you gotta go to the, right here.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Why is it on the bottom on some and it's on the top on others?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, that's a little bit. You have it in your handouts as well, but we were asked to show before COVID through current day statistics on some different items that are of importance. So this graph is showing patron visits in blue, and it's normal for our patron visits to be high in June and July because of summer reading program, then they kind of level off for the winter visitor months, they get a little bit lower, but are pretty consistent, and then when they start going back home in April or May, then it gets lower. However, with the pandemic in March 2020, you can see the big dip in the blue. That's when we opened up our drive-up window, and then we had some not very active patron days for a couple months, and then in the summertime, we did do summer reading again, just a modified version. Saw a little bit of an uptick, and then it kind of started to gradually rise until the present day. You can see June 21 and July 21 also a little bit of an uprise because of the summer reading program. The green is e-content alone, and the reason why it's so low before you get to June 2020 is because it wasn't being tracked. So that's why we have that sharp increase in the month of June 2020 into July. And then total circulation for both physical and e-content is in purple, and physical circulations are in red. So it's pretty consistent with, in terms of patron visits and circulation kind of going the same direction throughout the whole year. Oh, years, I should say. Did anybody have any comments to make about that graph or want some more information? Okay. The next one is showing program attendance for adults. Once again, there were no programs done after March 2020 until we got to July, where we did more, where we were ready to do our virtual programs. The adults also had a summer reading program, so we saw an increase in participants then. Then in September, it went way down, but steadily increased. Of course, December, January are historically low months for programs. And then in February, we had the Arizona Lecture Series, but virtually, so we had a little bit of an increase then. And it's been pretty low throughout that time. But now that Megan's here, it's going to start to increase. And we have an outreach graph, so you'll see what your efforts have been doing. So any comments or questions about this one? Okay. Children. Children's attendance. Children's programs have always been well attended, as you can see in 2019, going into 2020. Then, of course, the non-program months of April, May, and June. July and August are our busiest SRP months, summer reading program months. And then you've seen a steady increase of programs throughout the 2021. Any questions about that one?
Do you think, so if you look back at 2019, does that look like the pattern that you're hoping to get back to? Is that the normal pattern, do you think? Or is it, because it's obviously an increase over the course of 2021, but is it just getting us back to where we were, or is it actually, if you were to look at it by the middle of this year or the end of this year, you would say it's a constant upward trend?
Of course, I would love to get it back to 2019, because I think that's when 2018, 2019, we had 3 people on our youth services staff, so we were able to do more programs. 2020 is when one of those librarians left and we didn't fill the position. COVID hit 2 months later, so we decided not to fill it for that year, and it's still vacant right now. Megan's position was kind of part of filling that position in terms of budget. So it's going up, and I think it's going to keep going up. But once again, with things increasing right now, I'm not sure what people's behaviors are like if they're not coming to the library like the last few weeks because of Omicron variant. It's hard to know at this point. We still have quite a few people coming in. A lot are wearing masks. So I think people are trying to go on normal with their life, but I think there's a lot of people that might be staying home more now than they did just a couple months ago. But of course, we always wanted to go up. Right now, we're busy starting to get ready for the summer reading program, because that takes months to prepare in advance, and not really knowing what it's going to look like then. It's hard to know whether to go virtual or in person, or do some sort of a hybrid. Did that kind of answer your question, Cheryl? Or did I miss a part of it?
No, you didn't miss any of it. I did have another question.
Sure.
Do you have an idea of how many children actually are in Apache Junction? So what the comparison is of this number versus the total number of kids here? Do we know?
I do not know, but that's something easy to get for sure. I just gave some census information to our consultant, but I didn't, I don't have one here with me right now. But that's something to definitely look at, because you want to get a better idea of how many,
How many are we reaching?
yeah, we're reaching.
A good-
Which a lot of these could be repeat.
Yeah.
We tend to see the
Yeah.
same families over and over, which is great, Pam Kraus, but yeah. But we can definitely look into that for next month and see what's, because it's a good, all the data is good to know, at least to have a ballpark idea of what the baseline is, what we're working with in terms of, and then where we are with it.
Probably a
I
good
would-
resource would be the, the school district, could get
True.
all your numbers from them.
Yeah, at least for ages
Mhm.
5 to 18, yeah.
The reason why I asked is because I was at the Leadership Institute last night.
Oh,
and,
good.
They were, Bryant Powell was showing some of the census information for AJ as a whole. And it was clear that right now, the population skews average compared to the US population much more towards the higher end of the age range than the lower
Towards
end
the
of
what
age
range?
55 plus.
Seniors.
Seniors.
Seniors, yes.
Ah.
So it's, what I'm interested in is, right now, we have a population. There's going to be a huge influx as they build out that section south of town. And we had that conversation last night about what is the way in which they're going to be deploying these houses? Is it going to be going after specific age range of buyers or not? And that could give us a good idea of, are we seeing the influx at the level that we should see, or at the same levels we have right now, given the current child population?
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Did he give you any indication on what his thoughts were in terms of what type of families he thought would be most attracted down there?
Well, what they said was based on the purchase that was done and the agreements with the developers. There's only, out of the 11,000 homes or so that's for both of those sections, only 2,000, I think, are supposed to be 55 plus.
I
Everything
heard
else is supposed to
1,000,
be-
so yeah, between 1,000 and 2,000, yeah.
The first development that's going in right now, I think B.R. Horton is the one that's going faster. That one is 1,000, and then I think the
Oh,
other
okay.
one had 1,000 too, but that was just because I think one of them wanted to put that in, not because they necessarily plan on actually selling it that way. That's just there so that we don't have so it's designed to really bring in a lower age demographic,
Right,
from my understanding, based on what the agreements are.
yeah. That's the idea I got too, so. Yeah, we'll look into that number because it'll be good to see how it changes. We have outreach next, the outreach graph. Excuse me? Oh, I'll do teens after outreach. Thank you, though. Okay, outreach. When'd you come again? October? Yeah, we did start doing some before you did. Because I already knew the direction I wanted to go, so I wanted to get staff in the habit of getting in their minds that outreach was going to be a part of our future. Now that we got our bookmobile all wrapped and it looked beautiful at the Centennial, now we just got to make the inside look a little bit nicer. But yeah, so October 2020, I think that, I have that, I know what that is. It was the boo-through. Yes, it was the boo-through that the Multi-Gen put on. It was a drive-through Halloween event, and the library participated in it.
Yeah,
So our number for that was, they said 1,800 people went through the boo-through. So that's why we had that big spike. We love partnering with Multi-Gen. And then the rest of them were mostly us going to, we did go out with the mobile library and try to just go to different parts of town and, announce we would be there with a little bit of success, but for the most for the most part, we would only reach a handful of people, because I guess people just weren't used to seeing this big fun van vehicle parked in a parking lot, wondering what it was doing there. But we did go to the, some community resource events at some of the churches in the area, where they have food for people and clothing and that sort of thing. And we got people signed up for library cards at those, and we had some success in those. We did those for several months in a row. And also to some of the school events where they were doing some food banks. But yeah, we're expecting that this, can't wait to see January. What was the number for Centennial
250 people
that you talked to?
Mhm.
Okay,
and like 35 new library cards. So it was
Yep.
more than a normal month, just in one event.
doesn't run event, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a great event. Okay, any questions about outreach? Next is Teens Sancy. Thank you. And it's pretty similar for teens as it's going to be for kids, just not as much. But we tend to have the same growth. I'm not sure. October was probably the boo-through again, but it's only 100. So let me look.
Oh, that's
Oh,
2021.
I'm wrong. Dungeons and Dragons started in October 21. That's what it was. And the Halloween event had a little bit of that number. Yep, Dungeons and Dragons. We definitely found a program that the teens like. I have no idea what it's about, but
It's
I-
fun.
yeah, Pam says it's fun.
It's for adults too, trust me. There's a
Yeah.
couple of us in there now.
Okay. So that's our graphs for those different types of programs that you can see through the years. Cheryl did ask us to look at universal class usage reports, which I'm glad she did, because we need some help. So this is universal class, which is that program that we now have where people can take all different types of courses and get continuing education credits. And we started it in July, had quite a few. This is, we're just reporting on number of login sessions. Yeah. The way they do the statistics are kind of weird, so we were trying to figure out the best number. There were 17 registrations, but out of those 17 registrations, people have to log in each time they are taking the course, so they logged in 87 times. August saw a little bit more, because I think we put it on Facebook that month again, and as you can see, it's slowly declined. So, let me tell you what things we are doing to market at the moment. We are doing social media, which includes Instagram, Facebook, and occasionally YouTube. We have our library website. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out called Wowbury, which is solely just tells people the new material we got into the library each week. And you'll see that also posted on the social media pages. Megan has started emailing and contacting different HOAs and housing subdivisions in the area. She got a great contact list from our PIO. We occasionally do press releases, but as we know, there's only really one newspaper, and sometimes it doesn't get in until after the event, which is not helpful. Outreach events, such as the community resource events. Lost Dutchman Days is coming up. We just had the Centennial. Megan has gone to a few of craft fairs that have been down on the corner of Phelps and the Trail, where she got some good numbers. And this month, we did something new that we've never done before. We set up our Polaris catalog library system where we check in and out the books and keep all the registration information, we were able to run a report on there where you can identify people that haven't been active with their library card for any number of days that you want to choose. So we said, okay, we want to know people that haven't been to the library, have been inactive for, we decided the number was 450 days. Because right now we have winter visitors back, and we wanted to do a full year past the winter visitors so that we weren't just capturing them. So we did an email that went out to all those people, and it said, hello, the Apache Junction Public Library is open with programs for all ages, plus access to print and electronic collections, including ebooks, e-audiobooks, movies, and music. We look forward to your visit. And we have had people come in this week saying, yeah, I got your email, I'm glad I got it. It was a good reminder to come in here and renew my library card. Even though they do get notices when their library card is expired, they only get it once, maybe twice, a few days before it's gonna expire, and then maybe like a week after it's expired. So this is something that I saw Mesa Library was doing, as well as Maricopa County, to try to get people back because of the pandemic, and they were having success with it. So I'm hoping that I can get some numbers for you in the next month or two that will show how many people that were inactive came back to the library starting the day after that email went out. And then compare it with our normal number of returnees, return patrons in a month.
Pam?
Yeah.
How do you track the Friends of the Library? Their participation?
The only thing we track with them is the number of hours they volunteer in terms of the women and men that work in the bookstore.
Okay, but I'm talking about people that come in and, take books or pay for their books, and
Yeah, that
So-
does not get tracked.
it does not.
Part of the reason being because we don't have somebody at the Friends of the Library desk the whole time the library's open. So we have the honesty boxes where people can put money in when nobody's there. So there's really no way to, they don't count like the number of books they put out and how many, get sold. So we really don't have an accurate way to track that.
Okay.
And all the books cost different amounts, so even doing how much they take in, you can't divide it by a number to get an accurate count either.
And not only that, but honestly, when I buy there, I put extra. So,
True, yeah, yeah.
Have changed, so.
yeah, I don't have the change, so a lot of times I'll get
Just
like
round.
3 books and
Round it off.
they're like $1.50, so I throw a 5 or a 10 in. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Fair.
You mentioned that Megan contacts the HOAs to comment on the universal classes, and Nextdoor is also a very good,
We have a Nextdoor account. I created it years ago before I was director. I had to register us as Pinal County Library District. It wouldn't let me do it as Apache Junction. And it doesn't let you post like a normal resident could, because we're under like a business account.
oh,
So it does have limitations, but we do have a presence on there, and we do get people saying, we love the library, and giving us a heart and all that. And we actually got a sticker from them the last couple of years saying, like we're one of the top Pinal County businesses or whatever. But, yeah,
but you can't post notices.
it's very, it's a little complicated. I've done it before, like when we went Fine Free, I did something, but you have to do it as as a promotion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to look exactly at the wording, but it's not like I can just put a post out there like a normal person saying, come to the library, and people can respond, or it's in a different format.
Okay.
But yeah, I know, Nextdoor is very popular, and I don't know why they have those restrictions put on the businesses so much, but probably to keep all the advertising off of it,
Right.
but,
Right.
For the universal class, have you guys put anything over at the Multi-Gen Center? Would they let you put something up over there?
is there a reason why you think the multi-gen would be a good place for it?
You just have a lot of traffic
Just
in and out
traffic.
of there.
Yeah.
You know, I've wondered that over the years, and I've never really approached Liz
There's a
Langenbach
table
about
over
it.
there with all kinds of information you can pick
Yeah.
up.
Or they have the
Like, I wouldn't feel
blackboard running
comfortable
outside.
putting our programs over there, because that's a direct,
I mean, but like the universal
yeah, the
class,
universal
though,
class could.
that wouldn't conflict with their programs because that's an online,
Right.
Education.
it's a class.
Yeah.
It's not a fitness class, it's not a,
See, we could post a flyer in the chamber, and, I pick up calendars and I pick up your lecture series. But if we could get you to come and just bring us at the first of the month, that way we can get it all up on bulletin boards and posted
Sure.
Okay,
at the
Yeah.
chamber.
okay.
I had a question about, you said there were 17 people that specifically had set up and started taking classes.
Yes.
Have we thought about potentially surveying them about why they dropped off? Because this is actually a fairly typical kind of graph for online usage.
We don't know for sure if they dropped off. It was 17 new registrations, and the next month it was 8 new registrations, but there were more login sessions the next month, so some of those 17 could have stayed on for the next month.
Yeah.
But are you wanting to know, like, why the new registrations have gone down, or?
No, I'm actually interested in whether they are finding this stuff valuable,
Okay,
and whether we can maybe survey them if since we would know who they are, they have to log in with their library card. So there's got to be, is there a way for us to potentially reach out to them and say, hey, we've noticed that you're using the universal classes. What were you looking for? Did you find what you were looking for? If you started a class, is there a reason why you didn't finish it? Because that's really valuable information that can help us understand and really evaluate whether the universal classes are perceived as being,
the only thing is I don't have access to who registers.
okay,
Privacy.
Mm.
It's just like if you checked out a library book,
okay.
yeah.
Is
That
there-
is a great idea, though.
Yeah, is there a way to potentially do it while they're inside of the universal, not to work with the universal catalog to say, can we get patron survey while people are taking classes?
Feedback.
You would think they'd be interested.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Feedback on it?
yeah, feedback, exactly, it's just feedback.
So working with Universal Class to provide the people that log in through our library some sort of survey or questionnaire about their
Yeah,
experience.
and it would be anonymized, so we would never be able to track it back, but
Okay.
it would be valuable feedback to tell us the usefulness from their perspective.
And maybe if there's a class that they're interested in, they could put that down too.
This is something a little different, but when you were talking about the Nextdoor app, I wanted to say that Pinal County is launching a new app that's like Pinal County Healthy Active app, something like that. And you can put programs on there that have to do with like health or being active. And that is really easy to add programs to. And I've added some of our programs on there, like the cooking, the line dancing, different things that would fall into the category. And the problem is no one really knows about the app because it's new. They're just launching it. But if we could find more outlets like that, like Nextdoor, not quite, but other apps to post on, that might be a good platform to help people
Or
find
even
it.
post on Facebook, hey, we're not just here, here's a whole list of other areas to find us.
That's a good idea. And I know the Parks and Rec posts on that app too. And so it might be good to like compile some apps that people are interested in,
Yeah, I've never heard of that one, and that's good.
Well, I'm going to finish up the librarian's report. I got one more thing. Later on in the agenda, we've got a brainstorming session for promoting library services, so we can talk more about it then. But I did want to address the universal class that Cheryl had asked about last month. The last thing that I have, though, is Pam had asked about accelerated reader. And is there a way for our catalog to identify which books are in which ranges, accelerated reader ranges, and then, obviously, then you would know which ones we own, because that's what our catalog does. So doing some sleuthing. Our catalog, as it stands right now, doesn't have any type of filter options for accelerated reader. It doesn't communicate any way with Accelerated Reader's book site called AR Bookfinder. So there's nothing we can do on that end. But I did find this tool that could be helpful for some people. It's actually adding a Google Chrome extension to your computer. So whatever computer you use our library catalog from home, you can install this extension called the library extension. You have to do it on Chrome. And so the instructions are here on how to do it. And then when you go to AR Bookfind, which is the website that you use to look up the levels for our AR books, it will link your library's catalog to its catalog. So for instance, this book is Word Birds Dinosaur Days. I did an advanced search for books that were between 2.0 and 3.0. So this book came up, it's 2.5. And then down here in this box, let me make it a little bigger. You can see that it says Apache Junction Public Library and that we have 101 copy available. So the only bad thing about this is that you can't search in AR Bookfind just for books that Apache Junction Library owns. You would have to go through the list that comes up on your search, click on each book, and then it'll tell you whether or not we own it or not. So it does link them, but it doesn't. But it's still a little bit of work on your part to identify which books are in our library. And it's not going to show you what is at other Pinal County libraries. It's just going to show you Apache Junction. So I didn't go through all these instructions, but they're pretty simple to add the Chrome extension, add your library, and then to do the advanced search using the ATOS book level. But like I said, you have to click on all the titles. So I did see that our catalog is called Polaris. It's the company that does Polaris has a new version, like an upgraded version of Polaris called Vega that actually Mesa Library has invested in. And they do have accelerated reader on it. But our Polaris system is not paid for by Apache Junction, it's paid for by the county library district. So that would be a decision they would have to make if they were gonna upgrade our system. So any questions about AR? Thought that was cool though, that you could do that. Okay, so that is it for the librarian's report for tonight.
All right, thank you, Pam. Do we have any old business? All right, let's move on to the next item, new business.
Yes, we've got the exhibit and display policy revisions. Find my, so in your packet, you, and in the email from last week announcing the meeting, you saw our current library display policy. So this is showing what the purpose of a display would be for the library and the policy behind it, which was quite general. We haven't since I've been with the library, been really working with outside organizations to do displays, except for the Superstition Mountain Museum, who has a permanent display case in the library. But we were looking for ways that we might be able to use a different display case that we had in the youth department that we moved to do maybe some other types of displays that would be beneficial both for the organization that wanted to do the display and for us. So it would have to meet certain criteria that was, it was either culturally representative of our area or it was educational. So we were thinking working with maybe schools, maybe other groups that are in the area that wanted to show off a really neat collection of items that had something to do with Apache Junction or the area. So we took the current policy and we made it more specific to include things that were not in the current policy, such as a little bit more specifics on what the display would need to look like, what kind of signage would need to be used, what things we would accept and what things we wouldn't accept in terms of if it was advertising purely for the purpose of advertising a product or an organization. And then the thing that we didn't have previously was a form and some guidelines on how the process would work. So we added those, and I hope you had time to read through all that because it's a little bit lengthy, but we wanted to put some time limits on it to ensure fair use for everyone, when they would install it and dismantle it, what we would provide and what they would provide, and then, of course, an agreement form for them to sign, including a description of the items to be exhibited. We're asking for them to include a CD or attached file of JPEG images so that we can see what would the display look like without actually having them to come in and put the display in the case already.
How large is that case?
It's quite large. It's larger than the one that the Superstition Mountain Museum uses. It was in the youth department. It's probably about 5 to 6 feet tall and maybe about 4 to 5 feet wide. Wow. And it's a glass case. It locks. We have moved it to the Mountain View room. So it would be in a prominent space near the public computers. Did anybody have any questions about it or comments?
Who's setting up the display? Are you guys gonna set it up or the person that's applying for that display access?
If I remember correctly, they would be.
Says the person
do.
doing it.
Yeah,
Did they? Okay, I must have missed that. Thank you.
it's
under
number 4 under 3.
For understanding.
Number 4 under 3?
Sorry. Roman numeral 3.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Item 4.
Yeah, 3, 4.
Thank you.
So we did look at a lot of other libraries' display guidelines to kind of develop ours and picked and choose what we thought was important for us.
I thought it was excellent,
Yeah, I do too.
very thorough.
So we have to give credit to Penny because Penny was the main person that worked on this one.
There's kind of Penny.
So if you think that it would be something that we'd want to add to our policies, you could vote on it tonight, or if you wanted to look at it longer, we could do it at a future meeting.
I say vote tonight.
We had time to look at it.
I'm sorry?
We had good time to look.
You had good time to look at it?
All right, so we'll vote for it. All right.
I'll make a motion that we add these proposed new library exhibit / display policy.
Do I have a
into
A
effect.
second.
Who did the second? Cheryl. Okay, roll call. Judy Bory,
Yes.
Cheryl Hall,
Yes.
Pam Kraus,
yes?
Yvonne Cruiser,
Yes.
Vivian Reisky,
Yes.
Vera Walters,
Yes,
Lori Wine.
Yes.
And motion passes.
excellent job.
Thank you. Thank you, Penny.
Yeah, thank you, Penny.
Okay, the next thing, oh, I don't announce it, do I? Sorry, go ahead. I'm just chatty Cathy tonight.
All right,
I'm taking your job, Pam.
that's okay. You're doing a good job, Pam. All right, next we're going to do the discussion and position vote on increase the debt collection fee for the library accounts referring to the Unique Management Service Collection Agency.
So there's nothing to show you for this one. Let me just explain what we mean by debt collection fee. We use a collection service called Unique Management Services. They work with a lot of libraries, public libraries, to help us in collecting our materials back. So they follow up with library users who have checked out and not returned material, and in our case, that definition is referred to any library item that is 60 days overdue and the amount owed is $81 or more. So in this case, it would have to be something of pretty good value, or it has to be multiple items. An additional referral bill of $10 is currently added to the user record at the time that the collection fee is issued by Unique Management Services. And we add that to the bill to cover the $8.95 fee that they charge us. So we got a notice from them last month that they're increasing their bill from $8.95 to $10.30, which means that the $10 that we're adding to for the referral fee for Unique would actually, we'd be losing money. Not that we're making any money on doing this. We're obviously paying Unique every month, but we don't necessarily want to not charge a fee that is less than what they're charging us to do their service. So I am proposing that we raise our $10 fee that we add to customer accounts that are referred to Unique from $10 to $11 to make up that difference in costs that we're being charged by Unique.
Any
That
questions?
sounds logical.
Yes.
At least.
How many accounts do we have that have this kind of fee on them right now?
There's a lot of older accounts that I'm not sure how long Unique holds them before
They write them off
before
for a couple years or
they purge them or whatever. But in terms of new people that are added to it, usually our bill, it's usually about 10 accounts per month.
Okay.
It's relatively small.
Any other questions?
But don't we have a limit on, like, I had a friend that lost a playaway,
Mhm.
but she was not charged the full price for the playaway.
It's possible that she lost a piece of it, maybe the lanyard or the case.
Yeah, I guess I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's a partial loss, such as like our hotspots, if somebody returns the hotspot, but they didn't return the charger, they get charged for the charger, but not the rest of the
Okay.
unit.
Okay.
But like our hotspots, they're $84. So if somebody loses a hotspot, it qualifies for Unique to step in. But in most cases, I believe our $81 is quite high for, I've heard other libraries being much lower, around the $50 level. And since we don't charge overdue fines too, well, this really just deals with, in the past, it would have dealt with any overdue fines and replacement costs that would equal $81 or more. So So in our case, it doesn't really affect many people.
Are you guys ready to vote on this?
I move that we increase the debt collection fee so that we're not losing money.
All right, do I get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call. Judy Bory,
Yes.
Cheryl Hall,
Yes.
Pam Kraus,
Yes.
Yvonne Cruiser,
Yes.
Vivian Reisky,
yes,
Vera Walters,
Yes.
Lori Wine.
Yes.
Okay, that motion is passed.
Thank you. All right, next one, discussion of strategies to promote library services.
So I believe, Vera, you were the one that proposed this, so thank you. I believe this is one of our biggest issues. I think it's a lot of libraries' issues right now, and it's going to continue to be as we try to figure out what ways our community is getting their information. And I know a lot of that is demographic. Our consultant was saying yesterday that most people that find library information on Facebook are female, and they're under the age of like 35 or something. There's, research out there that shows what type of people use what type of service. Like teens don't use Facebook. Teens use Snapchat or TikTok or whatever, which are services that we don't currently have. So I would love to hear your ideas, thoughts about marketing and/or advertising, and go from there.
I thought it was interesting at the Coffee for Cops, the police department feels the same loss of a local newspaper.
Oh, you did discuss that.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
we did. Yeah. Is there any way the city hires a developmental director, to develop the town, to advertise how good Apache Junction is and get businesses and residents here? Is there some way the city can support the acquisition of a local paper? Florence, for heaven's sakes, has a local paper. That's not a big town.
It is now. It's growing.
But we are too, so
Yeah, so are we, yeah.
so maybe next year or two we'll have a paper again.
That's only if someone's willing to start one.
Well, what are you doing?
Not me.
But I'm
I
thinking
think
if
part of the
town,
problem, I think part of the problem.
if the city itself put an effort into finding someone who would start a newspaper. I mean, if you don't ask, you're not going to get.
I think part of the problem with the printed papers now is they pay for them by selling ads.
Right.
And businesses are no longer buying the ads because they have moved to social media for advertising. I think that was one of the biggest reasons that our local paper went out of business, is because, well, one, COVID hit, so nobody wanted to buy ads because they couldn't afford to. And in this digital age, everything's on the internet.
Gold Canyon Ledger is doing well.
Is it?
Well, it's still there.
Do you have to live in Gold Canyon to get it?
Not really.
No? Huh.
So the news went out of business, but the Independent's still that one monthly. So is there any way, like, will they do as a community service, publish the calendar on a page? And speaking of ads, half of it is ads. They're getting their
Oh, yeah.
advertisers. It's like you kind of go through, when you go through
Right.
it every month to find the articles. But do they do it like a free community service?
Well,
for-
they do have a community calendar in there, and they do put a few of our events in there, but
But sometimes the event has already passed by the
Right.
time the paper
Right.
comes out.
true.
that's why,
They don't,
you know, 'cause
yeah, they don't
they-
put the
they
print calendar in there.
They usually, that comes in the mailbox about the first of the month. So if we have our calendar ahead of time.
Right.
And if they would publish it, that calendar like that you sent out.
Right, the paper calendar,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Or
doesn't
maybe if
hurt
they
to
would-
ask.
Yeah.
You know, Parks and Rec used to have their community, what was it called?
Oh, the
The
citizen.
The
The
citizen.
Citizen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
that was
they-
another thing that was dependent on advertising, because we were in that too, as
Yeah.
were the police.
And they're gone.
Yeah, yeah, they couldn't support it any longer,
Huh.
yeah.
Oh.
Because that was free for us as well as,
I
because
know,
they used the ads to pay for it.
I know you use the marquee, and that helps a lot too. You know, it's, you know.
Oh, good. I always wonder how many people see,
Right.
Well, only if you're stopped at the stop sign.
Which you
which
are
in,
for 5
which in
minutes.
Apache Junction, you're always stopped at a light somewhere.
Well, then it depends on how long you're there as to what you actually see on the
Yeah.
marquee.
Yeah.
Do we have any relationships with the school systems to have some of our events posted on their websites? Or even just letting people know, because I know like the AJ Multi-Gen, like every 3 months, we'll have something come out and go, this is what we're having for the next 3 months. Even something like that, so that way we're not harassing them every month, but just letting them know, hey, we have this for your community. It's a free event, it's educational, we would love to see you. Just something, and not just AJ libraries, but the Mesa ones that are close to our borders.
Where do you find the multi-gen events 3 months in advance?
They have a website, a little brochure and everything. I know they do. That's how I do my whole calendar. It's based off the next 3 months.
And you have to go to the MGC to get it?
There's one there and it's online.
It's online, okay.
They have 2 different locations. I know they post it on Facebook
Yeah.
too.
And we have some at the chamber too.
Okay.
As far as marketing's concerned, since I'm sitting at home with COVID, I'm looking at all of our city council members' Facebook pages to see how often they promote library events versus other city events, and it's seriously lacking on library events. Would it be possible to reach out to the runner of like the City of Apache Junction government Facebook page, as well as our council members, to even broadcast it on their Facebooks, because they get a lot of traction that way?
Are they posting on the community groups, or are they posting?
It's both. They post it on their personal page, like with
Okay,
like with Councilman Biggs.
yeah,
He posts about the centennial. He even posted about the book walk. But other council members are not as active
you're right.
as posting, as well as like the City of Apache Junction government Facebook page specifically has not posted anything about library business, even with the book walk and it being open.
Okay,
I think reaching out to our local government officials would probably also be helpful, because you know, there's over almost 6,000 followers on the City of Apache Junction government Facebook page.
That's good.
I think it was great in the library that, and more public institutions should do this, where you had that bulletin board with all the events, and then you have a little sign up there that says, take a photo. So you don't have to pick up a flyer for everything and use the paper.
thank you, Vicki.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
Or you can just do a code that they can scan, so that would be
Use
already
the QR code.
Yeah, QR codes, yeah, yeah.
And maybe the multi-gen, I mean, you're partnering. There is nothing at the multi-gen about the library that I've seen, and I could be missing it, but.
I don't think so. But then again, we don't really have anything that, their programs advertised at our building either.
Well, maybe that should happen.
Don't you guys have a little bit when you do the drop-off? There's a shelf right there. Don't you have a few items there for the multi-gen there? Right inside, right across from the fish tank? Isn't there like 2 or 3 shelves with a little bit of information?
I don't think so.
I thought there was one.
On the community stand or on the,
Right when you walk in the library, you have the fish tank on your right, left is your drop box. And I want to say it's like a little wire rack that has like 2 little brochures for information I saw.
Yeah,
there,
that's
so-
our community stand. It kind of changes out all the time,
Oh.
but maybe we had a couple of things from MDC on there at one point.
Okay. What about doing like a bulletin board right where the drop box is and putting stuff up there? Would that even be more helpful? That way it's just one center for, because otherwise you have to go around those little areas to try to find the maps or the calendar for the month.
Yeah, because we have that triangle thing when you come inside
'Cause I always
that
go
you walk
trying to find
around,
it.
and sometimes we can't fit everything on there. But then again, we don't usually have a flyer for every single event.
But maybe see if we can do some agreement with like the multi-gen to try to promote each other.
Okay.
Put some of their stuff up and put some of our stuff up and see if we can use their bulletin board outside of the multi-gen to post our stuff.
Yeah.
You writing all this down, Megan? I'm just writing, so if you want to keep talking, that's fine.
Yes, my ideas?
Do we have a budget for something like postcards?
You know, I did put some money aside this year to do some sort of mail campaign, but haven't had the opportunity to investigate it further. Because I know that you can like limit, you could do some sort of a mail campaign where you can send out a postcard and then you get really great postage rate, and then you can either do it to the whole city or you can pick certain areas based on demographics and all that, but I haven't looked more into it. Are you familiar with that program?
No.
No?
I was just thinking, the other idea that I had, because we've talked about the paper several times, every week I get a flyer, or I get a bunch of things about sales that are going on for furniture companies and things of that nature. I get it every week in my mailbox. That would be a way to maybe replace, if we had money to put in something even once a month,
An insert.
an insert,
Okay.
just a one-page thing that we could do, and that might be a place to do calendar. That might be a place to do other things like that. But you'd have to have some money. I'm sure they wouldn't do it for free for us, so.
Oh, yeah.
No.
And is that in your grocery ads? Is that
That's
where you
where
get it
grocery
in?
ads
The
go. It's basically just a bunch of newspaper print with a couple of, something from Safeway, something from Fry's, something from Pruitt's, something from,
Right, Ashley's.
yeah.
It's the same every week.
Yeah, basically it is, yes.
I know when the newspaper was running that, you could put a flyer in there, but you had to provide your flyers to them. So you were talking about a couple of reams of paper,
But still,
But-
if it's just us printing it,
Mhm.
and then we can get them to leave it in with however they do it, that would be fairly cheap.
Or the school
don't-
district, or the school district,
even-
do it in their,
That would be the biggest thing, is finding out who actually
Does it?
does those inserts.
yeah, I have no idea. I don't even know
Yeah,
what the
I
name
don't
of it
even
is.
know where you
So I'd have,
or-
Maybe we can talk to the post office and find out
Yeah.
where it comes
They
from.
would know.
One other thing with the new addition coming down to the south, like welcome to the neighborhood and let them know about the library and what we all offer. Have like a welcome pack. I don't know if they're doing something like that, but just something for the new people coming in, so that way they're fully aware what we have here in AJ and what we can offer them.
There is, having just moved relatively recently, there is a couple of services that know you are coming. And mymove.com and something else. I can find all of the emails that I got from them when I first moved in. That might be a good alternative way to reach out to people coming into the community.
yeah, I love that idea.
We keep talking about down south, but we can't forget about all the new developments that are happening
here.
north of 60
Right.
also, because there are several new developments going in north of 60, so,
Just anything new
And
coming in.
they're our closest neighbors, so.
oh, there's a couple that are gonna be really close.
Do we have an Instagram for the library?
Yes.
We do.
Awesome. I wasn't sure. I don't have one, so.
I figured it's not, since you didn't know. I don't have one either. Megan has one. Megan does a lot of our social media, so she's She's pretty savvy. We did watch, there's a Maricopa County, I forget, it's called MCLC, it's Maricopa County Library Commission, I don't know, something like that. They do a tech talk every quarter, I believe, and this last one was on social media marketing, kind of, what were the ads called? They were Facebook ads or?
Facebook ads, and I remember seeing the Maricopa County Library District having Facebook ads about the summer reading program, and I remember thinking, whoa, like, because they pop up all the time, those ads. And then they also talked to us about Peach Jar, which is something you guys are kind of mentioning, is I guess now the school districts, instead of giving out flyers, it's like a digital flyer. And AJ Unified School District does use Peach Jar. And so that's something we kind of just heard about that we want to look into more.
Right.
So,
And what we do know with working with the school district, if we're going to have any of our information going out to their students, we do have to go through their,
It has to be approved.
their marketing person to be approved. And sometime, in the past, we've always, when we've done that for our summer reading program, they've always been really good about it, and I don't see that they wouldn't be now. I just, we got to find out the appropriate people to contact, because I think that's changed hands a couple times.
With a lot of schools, they're using digital programs like Class Dojo. There's a couple other ones, and there's ways to put out news that way. So when you are reaching out to the schools about marketing for the library, you might want to see if there is a way to send it out through whatever program it is that those teachers are using. Because elementary, it's Class Dojo because it's a monster and you get points every time you're good. But obviously at a higher level, you don't necessarily need a cute little monster. But that goes instantly to a parent's cell phone, and then if they speak another language, the flyer usually, as well as the text, translates into whatever language it is that they've clicked as their reading language.
Cool. I know the chamber does also a newsletter, and so they'll add, information and send that out to the local businesses. And you could have something that says, let your employees know that this program's going on. Like the universal classes would be, a good one, for that type of thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
The market that's in between Ross and Goodwill, they have a bulletin board in there that I know that a lot of local businesses also have like a flyer up at, and maybe we can ask them if we'd be able to put something up, because I always see people going in and out of there. It's a really interesting place if you've never actually walked inside.
Which market is it?
It's the Mall of Peddlers.
Yeah, the Mall of Peddlers.
Oh, okay. I've never been in there.
It is the most hodgepodge thing you'll ever see, but it's really cool. You could find homemade clothes and furniture, and then the further back you go, the bigger items usually get, and you could get a pot that probably all of us on the board could fit into for your yard.
There's a plug for the Mall of Peddlers.
If we're going to do all this marketing, is there a way for us to track, so when people come in and they apply for a card or come to classes, that we have a list saying, how did you hear about this? So we can see which ones are working and which ones aren't. I don't know if we can do a sign-up sheet and just say, hey, welcome, this is the class they're signing up for, and just mark which way they found out about it.
So when you walk into Dungeons and Dragons, you would sign in and say, and we'd have a question, how did you hear about this program?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
and I've just asked people before, at the Coffee and Cops program, some of them told me they found out from the HOA email that I sent out. So asking, but that's a better way to track it, definitely.
And I mean, even if they're having an email or a phone number, is there any way that we could be, would you be interested if we have our newsletter? Would you want to be added to it? Maybe even grow it that way too.
Yeah, because Megan did start a newsletter for the library, and when we met with Tony Garvey yesterday, the consultant, she did mention doing, because we did say that one of our issues that we knew that we wanted to address would be marketing and advertising, and she did mention email lists and whatnot, and, you know, we want to be careful and have people opt in, so that would be a way to do it.
That's what I was just going to ask. Is this going to be part of this consultant's, is the marketing, is that something that the consultant's going to cover with you guys?
It will, yeah, it'll definitely be part of the data gathering, and if I had to guess, it's definitely going to be part of the plan, because
Yeah.
it's a big problem.
It is,
Yeah, and it's not just us, it's,
yeah.
it's lots of libraries.
Yep.
A lot of the businesses.
All right, does anybody have anything else? All right, not hearing any, let's move on to the next. Any future agenda items? All right, I'll jump in then. Sorry, guys.
Always, always.
Yep.
I've been planning.
Pam's come with her list.
All right, I already reached out and sent a lot of this information over to Penny. So
Great.
there's a Childhood 2.0 video out there. It's talking about children as young as like 9, 10, and how social media affects them as bullies, depression, how social media has totally inclined that. So I sent her that information along with the person that did the class that I attended, because I think that's very important, because I didn't realize it hit kids as young as like 9, 10. And ways that you can use social media to protect your children, like you can set private accounts, but then also set up an account that they can get scholarships for all the volunteer work. So I mentioned that to her. And then a friend says, well, what about the seniors that post stuff on and then they get scammed? And I'm like, well, let's, you know, do a class for the seniors then also, which I thought would be nice.
And what was this called, Childhood 2.0?
Yes.
Is that the name of
It's a video that's out there. I
Video.
posted it on social media just to, hey, parents, this is out there. And then in there, there's also apps that you can put on your phone that can protect you. So your kid can text whoever, but you have access to certain keywords. So if those pop up, you need to have that conversation with your kid and going, hey, you know, this popped up, what's going on? So if somebody, you know, a predator, somebody abusing your child, or even one of their friends is having problems, that way you're aware and try to prevent it, because depression and suicide among teenagers is going up because of this issue.
So what you're asking is if the library can do a class?
Class and just further parenting classes too, because I sent another one that I did parenting classes. And a lot of it, you know, if you're in a group, it's the wording that you use. Oh, you screwed up. Oh, most people ridicule. No, good job on your effort. Here, let's try it this way, you know, to help build up each other instead of tear each other down all the time. So it was just some of the things I had passed on to Penny.
Okay.
Who's Penny?
Penny does a child course at the
The
sorry.
Yeah, the youth supervisor.
I talked to her too much, okay? And then I had mentioned doing the sign-up sheets for the events, just so we can have an idea. Because it's kind of nice if an event or something happens that we have to cancel or whatever, we have no communication for those people, and they don't know until they show up to the day of the event.
Right, since you do have some regular people that come, yeah.
Yeah, for like the D&D and classes like
Yeah, because I heard like last night, they decided not to have it, and no one came, which was great, because I would feel really bad if, you know, they canceled the group, told everybody that's currently in the group, but what if somebody new comes?
Yeah.
I want to prevent that from happening.
So we've had them, we're like, okay, who's showing up? But lucky a lot of us in the group know each other, so we can text to kind of find out.
Right,
But it's nice to know, okay, are they just running late or what? So
right.
that way we kind of trying to work on communication that way for the whole event. And then you have that little kitchen area, and I was wondering maybe if we go to like Goodwill, get some like kitchen appliances and cookbooks, and maybe do like a little cooking class or something to help teach kids, or just something fun to incorporate. But I didn't realize there's no oven in there, so I don't know how all that would work.
I know. Megan knows this all too well.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that'd be great. And it's like, I don't think there's an oven in there, and I peeked in there.
Isn't there Bio Bites next week?
We are doing a cooking show.
Okay.
But, and it's geared towards all ages, but I don't know if you're looking for a specific thing where they like teach kids.
It's nice to teach your kids so that way you can get spoiled with like waffles or whatever for supper, but I'll take it at this point, so.
But yeah, we do have a lot of problems because we don't have the appliances, and we also can't feed people certain things. Like we want to do samples, and have a whole bunch of stuff we're doing
Yeah,
to try
there's,
and get
there's
around
many
it.
restrictions.
Then
Yeah,
you
a lot
do
of
the
restrictions.
Food handlers.
And then, yeah, you get into the county
Cottage
food
food law.
handling.
Mhm.
But what happens if you do the cooking class and they do it? Do you still need to have the food handling since
Yes.
they're doing their own food?
I think you do.
I think
Really?
so.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think you do.
You guys, I'm still learning the food handling
I-
part.
The food handling gets,
It's pretty sticky.
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
a sticky situation that,
Scratch that then, okay.
because if for some reason somebody gets sick,
Yeah.
then the
It's back on
library's
you, yeah.
responsible if they.
I'm not, you know a lot about it now. Like, what if it's food that doesn't have to be cooked? Like, if they were just making like a snack mix out of
Yeah.
5 different.
If it's already like packaged foods, we can use stuff like that, like a snack mix, like Cheez-Its and pretzels and blah, blah. We could do things like that.
Can the kids make their own?
No. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. It's something we should probably investigate
I
a little
think
more.
that they could, because if we didn't touch it, but I mean, then it's the problem if they're touching each other's stuff too.
Right.
Right, and then
So-
you get into the whole food allergy
Yeah.
thing too,
Yeah.
that
It
if
would have
there's
to be regulated
a
a lot.
kid that has a food
Allergies.
allergy, but their parent's not there, and,
That would be like a pre-sign up class and that way they have to sign some type of waiver then.
mhm,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
All right, anybody else have future agenda items? I'll quit making lists, okay? All right, I'd like to join the meeting today at 7:54.
Okay.